I recently received a request to review an article. The article was called Avoid Getting Good at Agile by Brian Link. Now, I don't know Brian personally, but I'm going to read through the article, and they asked me to do a blind read. So I'm going to read through the article with you, and we're going to discuss it as we go. So let's get started. I know the Agile universe has been around for a long time. You may have even been using Agile concepts since extreme programming or Scrum in the mid 90s. I get it. But if you were to line up every single person in your whole country that works at all organizations, large or small, and ask them how well they understood what it means to be agile, what do you think you'd find? Let's pause. Um, I love this intro. I love the approach, and I love the fact that you're trying to get everybody to think outside the box. Because what I see is a whole bunch of people who know about the agile, but not a whole lot of people who know about agile execution and agile landscape. So let's see where you take this. Far too many people. For far too many people, agile is still like a foreign language. Overall, the world's really not that agile. Software development and IT functions in organizations are typically 60 to 90% agile, but every other department in a company is more like 10 or 20% agile or less. Generalizing statistics from the recent State of Agile report. Let's also pause there. As much as I love the State of Agile report, I do think that statistic or data is tainted. What I found is we're doing a lot more with Agile in sales, Agile in marketing, Agile in talent management. I'm starting to see Agile proliferate its way through large companies in all departments, and that's been awesome. It's been just such a good time to be able to see companies embrace it in other groups. Unless it's a tech startup, the average small to mid-sized business is likely even less fluent in Agile. So what? Well, for an Agile coach like me, it's great to know that if interest continues to increase, as it has, there will still be plenty of opportunities for my skills to be needed. They just may be trickier to find recently. If you're a coach, do check out some certain systems and pages to learn how to market to small business. So here's what I know. I'm going to pause here again. What I know is many organizations are looking for better ways to do things. And I think that we fall into a trap when we try to isolate them and say, hey, you need to do Agile. Let me tell you about Agile. They don't need to do Agile. They just need to work better. They need to communicate better. They need to limit work in progress. They need to focus on outcomes instead of outputs. The things they need to do are actually quite simple. Do they all have to do with Agile in some context? Sure, they do. But if you go into a company and tell them they need to do Agile, they start thinking that they need to follow every single rule, guideline, regulation, etc. They start looking for the handbook, the great Agile Bible, the Agile handbook. According to Scrum, chapter Schwaber, verse 4, and it came to pass. Yeah, people are looking for that. And that's not necessarily how you're going to be successful implementing Agile in your organization. He continues, the jargon is off-putting. If you believe my rough math above, there are many people who are still learning about Agile in general. You may remember your experience learning Agile or have taught others to whom it was very foreign. When it's new, Agile jargon can be overwhelming. Facts. There are new words for so many things, often things that people have done before with a different name or are very familiar with. But now they're joining an Agile team and being taught new ways of working and new ways of thinking. There are new ideas, but in order to absorb it all in context, they understand sometimes people start by thinking Agile is just like stuff I've done before, but just a new set of rules to do it. It seems innocuous, but in my opinion, it's dangerous and a likely cause of many failed transformations. Let's pause there. I've been in many companies who've said, and I think this is where you're going with this, we'd love to do Agile, but we hold tradition very important here, and we don't want to change necessarily what we're doing. We just want you to come in and agilify it, and make it more efficient, make it scrummy, sprinkle some Scrum dust on it, make it scrummy. And you might be laughing at that comment, but I've actually heard a leader say that before. So what I'm trying to say is, I think there's more than one bridge you're trying to cross here is what it boils down to. I think the first bridge you're trying to cross is an education bridge. And I think that too many coaches, and I'm not throwing darts, but too many coaches jump straight to education. They say, if we can teach them what Agile really is, then they'll want it, then they'll embrace it, then they'll understand, and it'll be good, and the jargon's confusing, and this and that. Okay. What I'm saying is you don't have to teach them Agile at all. You just have to break this down. So it's simply, what's the next most important thing that we can do to help you operationally and organizationally run better? How can we help you have fewer defects? How can we help you focus on outcome instead of output? How can we help you build products, services, tools, and systems that people actually want instead of what you think people actually want? That's the blinders we need to remove. So there are new ideas, but in order to absorb it all, you start thinking about that new set of rules. We've talked about that. This idea sets up a mindset shift that is subtle and happens so slowly that people don't even notice. The mindset sets in, and they're initially still learning Agile, so it's even harder to shake later. Coaches do this too without realizing it sometimes. Companies that don't have a lot of experience with Agile will make this mistake. Perhaps they only hire people with fresh certifications or very little experience. From the very beginning, if an individual or team is concentrating too much on learning how to be Agile and treating it like new words, new rules, and a book without enough context around why it matters, they are unwittingly being set up to fail. I think that's what I just now said without even reading it. Anyway, the mindset setting them up to fail is that the goal is to be good at Agile. Okay, let's pause here. I think setting a goal to be good at Agile isn't a bad idea, but I think you need to look at it from what is agility and what are you trying to achieve. You can't just be so broad. Learn how to conduct a good stand-up. Doesn't mean, Learn how to conduct a good stand-up. Don't assign work to people. Let them pull their own work. Do estimating. Don't do estimating. Learn how to slice user stories. Get good at the Agile ceremonies. Conduct refinement. Prioritize your backlog. The list is endless. These are the things that people are first taught. So it's no wonder why they think new jargon, new rules. In learning how to be Agile, sometimes people either forget or are never taught that the goal is still to be good at delivering business value to customers and end users. And it is not emphasized enough how important that is in Agile, as Agile is a new way of thinking, not just fresh paint on old ways of working walls. Part of this is treating Agile like it's common sense. So how do you escape the trap of just trying to get good at Agile? One of the tricks that I hear most often is for a coach or Scrum Master to repeat at the start of any Agile event why we're there and what we're trying to accomplish. Do that until everyone's absolutely sick of hearing it and they start mouthing the words themselves. We are here at Stand Up not to give a status, but to find new ways to collaborate, uncover problems sooner, and see how we can get more things done. It really is common sense, but a reminder as to why we're doing the things we're doing keeps it real and removes any specialness or artificialness, if there's such a word, that might be reinforced. For example, by calling an Agile event a ceremony, a stand-up, or a daily scrum, it's not a sacred event. It's a quick thing for the team to be effective every day. The same is true not just for other Agile events, no matter what framework or method you're using, but also for the Agile mindset shifts that we teach people and teams to embrace when they're learning Agile. Instead of teaching the mechanics of how to slice user stories, make sure to discuss why we slice the user stories. Iterative thinking is part of the Agile mindset, and it's important that teams work in small, iterative pieces in order to maximize the chances of learning something sooner. Getting feedback on what works and what doesn't work sooner helps you build better products faster. A user story is not just another name for a requirements document. It's a small experiment with a desired outcome that will prove or disprove if we're right on track to deliver the right value to the customer. Teams that haven't learned this well will write very large user stories with tons of detail, itemizing every aspect of how the piece of functionality should work. They are often acting like the one story implement will feature completely in one fell swoop. The same way we wrote a large design document back in 1997. You remember those technical user requirements documents. We talk about them often, yes? That team may still have a lot to learn about thinking iteratively. Or worse, they may believe that they're getting good at Agile and therefore they're on the right track. So there are signs that you can look out for when you're slipping into we're getting good at Agile mindset. One of those is teach the Agile mindset. As an Agile coach, I look for opportunities to make fun of Agile to help the team come back to focusing on the business and why we're doing the work that we're doing. I say things like, who cares? Are the Agile police going to come and arrest me? Purposefully. So we don't treat Agile like it's a set of rules that must be perfectly enforced. That said, there are reasons why we do things the way we do, but it's more important to understand why we can deliberately decide if it's okay to skip an event or do something different altogether. My focus is always on helping teams understand the Agile mindset, and yes, I capitalize on it because I've gone to great lengths to describe what I mean by it. So much so that a year of my life was poured into writing a book on this topic. That's interesting. So if you want to check out his book, you can go check it out. He says, in my book, I describe exactly how I coach teams through the Agile mindset. There are 24 topics I describe and behaviors a team needs and the concepts they should understand and fully embrace by Agile, modern Agile ways of working. The topics fall into 4 obvious categories of team culture, Agile process basics, product management, and value delivery. Let's pause. I have good news and bad news here. There's a couple of things that I see. First, let's start with the good, because I believe we should. The good news is I see a couple of things you mentioned here, like product management instead of product ownership, or looking for value stream delivery and value stream mapping as opposed to just delivering things willy-nilly. Those are all things I'm starting to see as part of the change management mindset that more companies are having. So a lot of being Agile is being able to pivot and utilize things that you learn from change mindset, from quality management, from any kind of management schema where you're doing either change management, quality management, or delivery management with product management, right? Any of those count. So you want to make sure that you understand exactly where you are. Make it your passion to figure out where you are and to help companies digest and really understand what they're trying to do. I think the big overarching message here, Brian, is this is a great getting started point. I feel like you comprehensively might understand the problem, but I feel like some of the solutions that you're implementing from a coaching perspective may be too, I don't even want to say rigid, it just might be too much. I think that you need to really break it down into basic things that are easily consumable that the team can handle, and that's where you're going to see the greatest success in transition. That's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a question you'd like to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care. Bye now.